I convene the December 15, 2021 regular board meeting to order at 7 p.m. Chris, please call the roll.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Here.
Karen Larson.
Here.
Jenny Norton.
Here.
Liz Sullivan.
Here.
Emily Swistek.
Here.
Lorna Turner.
Here.
Sarah Wynn.
Here.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2 is opportunity for visitors to speak. Public comment is for the general public. To address the board, each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide public comment. Seeing as no one's here, has anyone emailed? Thank you. Move to agenda item number 3. Acknowledges that Treasurer Norton and Trustee Sullivan reviewed the November billings in December, and that President Bartelli and Trustee Turner will review the December billings in January. Agenda item number 4 is the consent agenda. Is there a trustee who wishes to pull something from the consent agenda? If not, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
Any discussion? Chris, please call the roll.
Emily Swistek.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Jenny Norton.
Aye.
Lorna Turner.
Aye.
Sarah Wynn.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Consent agenda passes. Item number 5 is unfinished business, capital improvement project, A, project status update. And Mark, would you please update the board?
Of course. So moving along quickly today, getting to me here. So great efficiency. No, today's really just going to be a quick discussion and then open for any comments or questions that the board has. So quick updates, the debt certificate sale was closed right after the board meeting last month. The net proceeds were, as far as I'm aware, deposited into the library's accounts, so we're good there. The 100% construction documents were completed. They were submitted for bid as well as for permit. Bids were released to the pre-qualified general contractors on the 29th. Permit was submitted on the 6th. So right on plan there. The next bit is we did also submit a fee waiver request to the village. That was on the 3rd, and we'll hear back, I think that's going to be presented by staff to the village board for consideration. And then from there, you'll hear back. Obviously, they canceled their December 20th meeting, I believe is what it was. So the next meeting is the 3rd of January. Hopefully, we'll find out then what's going on.
Shoot for presentation and public comment as well.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that that's the day too that we'll have a representative there, and that we present to the village board what the project is in public comment. So it won't be a back and forth dialogue, but it'll be more covering the benefits that the village is getting out of this project and an opportunity to speak to them so everyone can be aware of it.
Essentially, our third open house. And then we're trying to time the third open house and presentation to the village board with what we were going to put down at Gallery 77 so we can encourage people to come. We will do that beforehand, but because the village canceled their 20th meeting, pushing it up a little bit.
Yep. Perfect. So we have that covered. Right now, Shane Archery has been developing the furniture packages. We've started to see some preliminary draft information right now. We're going through that over the next week before they take a little holiday break between Christmas and New Year's. And then right after that, we'll be right back into it before your next board meeting with more furniture updates. We've also gotten confirmation since I wrote this from the village that we do not need to go before zoning for signage requirements. Great news. We do need a building permit, which is fair, but in other words, we have to follow village code, but we don't have to go for zoning, which is great news there. With that being the case, once bids are received and we kind of know where the budget is, then we can really tackle the signage component of this and figure out where you want to allocate funds. For instance, we know what you want. The library administration has it sees value in updating the main library sign, and maybe even the sign that's at the south entrance to the parking lot too, amongst some other signs throughout the property. So that's really what we've been focused on in the past 4 weeks. The furniture plan update, I did include as Exhibit 1. I thought it was interesting for the board to see the difference between what is anticipated to be new furniture versus reused furniture. So you can see the different color codings there. I'll open up for questions here. I think it was Magda, I think you've all met or seen at least in one of the board meetings. She did a good job laying this out so it was easy to read. If there's any questions there, let me know. But you can see that.
Excuse me, that's our package, page 32? Okay,
Don't know what page you're.
Yes,
It's pink, blue, and orange. If that helps.
gotcha.
Yep. And it's 2 pages, so one for the lower level and one for the upper.
So all of the blue shelving, you can see we're reutilizing. The desks mostly are newer. There's some new soft seating mostly in youth services. And, what about the orange?
The orange is new, but it's not available to be seen in person. So this was also put together because Director Weinstein and select managers, where it's appropriate, will take a trip down to the Merchandise Mart in the new year, and that trip will to be able to see these pieces before they come out here, before you place orders. So everything that is in orange cannot be seen. Most of it is actually just shelving.
And matching
Pieces,
shelving.
yeah, matching color, yeah. So they don't stock shelving for everyone to see. But I thought that was helpful. If you have any questions on that, let us know. Otherwise, in January, we'll have a better update with actual pictures and images of things from Nagel Hartray on what those pieces are. The other bit was a stone painting update, and Director Weinstein went out and painted some different areas on your building. I hopefully most of you had an opportunity to see them in the light. I think one of the things that came to light when we looked at that was, why don't we identify the cost of painting the stone so that we can have that as an option as we go through this process. I think from the feedback I heard just off the cuff, it was an idea that maybe can we look at whether you need to paint the stone with that green color, and getting that cost broken out as part of the bid packages is a step we've taken to ask contractors to do at this point.
We just go with the brown.
Yes, the stone color, painting the stone any color, but specifically the brown color. And the way we look at this too is I think we'd advise that once we get into a little bit better weather next year, we actually go out there and paint a little bit more of the green and see a little bit bigger of the area. Because seeing it on 2 or 3 planks is a little bit tougher. And if we have a painting contractor on board or something like that, let's go paint a 10 by 10 area or something like that to give everyone a little bit better idea. So I think we approach it that way unless there's any questions.
Would the 10 by 10 area be visible for the public as well?
Anyone, it'd be up to the board to how big you want it. Let's put it that way. But anything 5 by 5 or bigger, I almost guarantee. Even this, I assume
Yeah.
public can see it.
Were there any initial reactions to what you saw out there?
I was just wondering if you plan on power washing the stone anyway, whether we paint or not, you would see that you would power wash.
Yeah, so in the spec is a cleaning requirement, and it's cleaning with a product that is suitable with the paint, but it will clean it regardless. And the reason why I want to do that is we also, regardless, would be doing some tuck pointing. And if we're going to tuck point, you might as well clean it, get it right, and move on from there.
It appears to me that some of those stones, it's either moss or mold or both. How will that clean up? It might be, I don't know if it
There were
nice
dribbles,
stone.
white dribbles coming down from the top.
The effervescence would clean up a bit. Yeah, that would clean up. In terms of the color variation and the dark and the light, we did do a test with 4 different products on the west side of the building a number of months ago. You can see a difference. Is it a big difference? It's not a drastic change. So it's something I temper expectations on that. It won't be all shiny, let's put it that way.
And the reason I did this is because once we paint the stone, we can't go backwards. We can't take it off. So once you have paint on there, you will have to, this is supposed to last 20 years or whatever, but if there was any chipping, we couldn't remove it. We would have to.
Yeah, you're just constantly maintaining it all the way through.
Has that stone been painted, or is that the natural stone?
It's a natural stone. They did check that.
That's the original?
Yep, that is.
And was it a variety of stone color?
Yes.
So you do, if you paint it, you do lose that natural variety. Yeah.
I think Don had pointed out what you have is the only variation you will have is in the shadow lines. Some sticking out more than others. That's what creates the variation
If you paint it.
if you paint it. But that you don't have the color variation.
And I will say, I I didn't get permission from our president to go out there and paint, but.
Pay my house.
But I tried to hide it, but I will say, it was interesting painting it, but it is hard to see. You have to kind of go like this, because the yellow is so dominant, next to that green. It's hard to see it near the stone, so I think Mark's suggestion of painting a wider swath of area is going to make a lot more sense when, in the spring.
Right.
Well, and I just keep thinking too, like, if we're painting it, the stone and the mortar, everything's gonna be the same color, and like right now too, we can see the different color mortar, and like, it's just, it just feels so permanent now that like we have more information, and so I'm kind of curious to see what it'll look like when we have more of it painted just next to the stone to see. I tried to take a picture up, like the one up that way, and I was standing on an angle and I tried to have it like the stone from the other side and there, but it's, only 2 planks, and so it's hard to get a really good feel, even with my creative cropping, and it was hard to see. So I'm hopeful we'll feel better about whatever we decide when we can see more of it with what it is now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just feeling so like, I don't know, like that wasn't even something that occurred to
Right.
me.
Well, the interesting thing, I talked to Don, and I don't want to speak for him not being here, but one of the points he said is, well, really we went down this path because when we first started out with the board, everyone knew that stone just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Something just doesn't look right in the exterior. And the budget doesn't allow to go and rip all the stone out and put something else new.
Right.
So that was the economical way to go and tackle it.
Right.
But if we can maybe solve it just with the painting of the siding, then maybe that solves it.
Yeah.
With the cleaning
Save
of
us
the
some
With
money
the cleaning and
as well.
tuck pointing and saving, save some money,
Yeah.
exactly. So we'll see.
Well,
More,
I think too, if we had chosen the teal colors, like this wouldn't work. This wouldn't even be an option. I don't think we'd be discussing potentially not painting it, because I think that would be such a drastic difference. But because the green is so much more neutral, I don't know.
by the way, I like the green mask. Just noticed.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so that's the update on basically decisions that are somewhat pending right now. The pre-qualification general contractor bid process update. Sorry, long verbiage there. I did have one update to the board packet as of today. So last night, you always have addendum that go out during the bid process. Last night, I got an addendum of a number of pages from Sheehan Nagel Hartrade. They responded to questions from the contractors, as well as just provided some, they called it a QA QC process internally that they do. They add some more dimensions here. They kind of tweak things to make sure whatever you're buying is right. So we issued those last night, and looking at the content of there and the process, the general contractors have to distribute it to all their subs. I advised Director Weinstein that we should push, or not push, but we should allow bids through the 22nd. So there's no change in your schedule as it pertains to you. We'd still be coming to you guys in your January board meeting for an approval, but just wanted to give you the heads up that the
Monday,
opening
Wednesday.
day, it would not be Monday, it'd be Wednesday. It just gives enough information and time out there for contractors to process what was just sent out last night. So that's the one main update. No impact on the project, and we did.
Are you getting any sense that there is any pushback on meeting even this 22nd date?
No, I can say we had 3 contractors reach out about pushing dates. One of them originally asked for Tuesday. The other 2 asked for Wednesday.
Gotcha.
There's nothing saying, hey, can we have till the end? Of course, some contractors are pushed for manpower right now, and they might want longer, but everyone's pushed for manpower no matter what time of year you go out.
Have we asked for all electronic copies or some physical?
No, they have to submit them in a sealed hard copy bid.
Gotcha.
For this type of thing, we do that because we don't want any funny business. You send it electronically, and if I open it and tell my friend or whatever else, I can get blamed for something. So sealed, hard copy, that's it. I'll scan them all right after we open them, and we'll send them in. And really when we open them, I know that no one will be there really from the board, because we can't have more than 2 board members there. But when we open it, we read out loud the base bid amount, and we'd say if they acknowledged all the addendum, such as what I issued yesterday night, and And from there, we take it in the back, we scan it, we go through it. And there's no decisions made, there's no information. All it is we're recording the public information right on the spot. And you'll get that as well as a board.
And I will let the board know as soon as we have the information kind of concretely in front of us. I'll just send an email to all of you and let you know.
Do you, when you do the opening, do you just do it in a random order or do you, I mean,
Usually alphabetical.
okay,
Yeah, just it's the easiest way to say it. It was random, alphabetical.
okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was like any specific thing.
Yeah, no.
How, I've done some bidding and bid responses. How many binders or is it, do you anticipate just one binder response or multiple binders? How?
So there's no binders with this. We gave them a bid form that they have to fill out.
Okay,
We also give them a number of certifications they have to provide, and it's basically they sign it and date it and notarize it or whatever else is required. But there's, the stack of drawings that have submitted to them is this thick,
gotcha.
but those are all electronic. All they're submitting back to us, because really all we're looking at with them is the base bid amount and the alternates. All the other information is really supplemental to that. We want to make sure they have the certifications and that in place. They need those. But at the end of the day, what we're really looking for is what is the amount they submit. And that's something that they put on the very first page of the submittal. And I think the bid form is something like 9 pages. That's it.
So what you're expecting from them is a dozen pages, no more? I mean,
That's probably right around 20 or so. You
Oh,
figure
wow.
they've submitted all their qualifications in the past. If we didn't receive the qualifications, it would be a much thicker submittal,
gotcha.
but we'd already done that.
Okay,
That
good to know, thank you.
And I did include in the board report too some dates we put in there based on all the interviews with contractors and some averages. This is right in line with what our schedule was originally. I think it says target early January 2023. If you plug in all the 110 plus 10 plus 90, don't quote me on it, but I believe it's like the very first week or the first or second week of January that it's supposedly finishing. So we'll look at the schedules once it's submitted, but really what we're trying to buy from the contractor is the best dollar amount. We're giving them a schedule so they're all bidding in the same schedule, and that's what we have to hold them to. But if they can finish earlier, then great. That's what it'll be. And then the project schedule update, we're tracking on schedule. Like you can see, we're supposed to be right here in the bid award phase. The bid award phase was supposed to go through February. We're trying to cut that back into January to allow more time for procuring materials. Permitting, we're right on track, so we're good to go there. The next update is a project cost summary update. There was one bigger change on this. I'll go through these 1 through 4 on the bottom. So number 1 was a minor change. We were holding $15,000 in there for financing costs. Those were wrapped up into the financing, the gross proceeds when you issued the debt. So that was 0 at hitting your project budget, which is good news there. So that I updated that number to 0 from 15. Number 2 was a reduction in the cost needed for geotech. Geotech is basically surveying soils and things like that. In talking with the architects, they don't think it's necessary at this point. We had a healthy number in there, so we halved it. We still have something in case we need to do something, but a little reduction there. Number 3 is one of the larger adjustments right now, and keep in mind these are all anticipated costs. Nothing has been issued or signed or whatever else, but I want to make sure that when we're talking budget, you all have a clear picture of what is on the horizon or what the risks are. And one of the risks I came up with when I started reviewing the phasing is on the moving side of things, how many times the books are touched from moving them into phase 1, moving them from phase 1 to phase 2, and then phase 2 throughout the whole thing. It seems like every book in the building is going to have to be touched 3 times. It's not like you're touching half the books the first time, half the books the second time, and then another half the next. It's all of them every time. So I basically doubled that number for now as a placeholder to just be safe, so that if we look at things and we're looking for approvals later on, we don't think we have a whole bunch of money sitting here. It's a safeguard on our end. And same thing, number 4, that's just the balancing act. That number at the very bottom, that 146, that's the one that's always changing every month to account for whatever else is going on up above the lines. Any questions there? So again, and good news right now, we're tracking on budget. There's no issue. Just I want to make sure this is how I tackle things. As soon as I think there's maybe a perceived risk, I want to put a number in there, make sure we cover you, and then you can make decisions from there. So that being said, upcoming activities, one of those that plays into it, I'll jump ahead, is that I am putting together a moving bid package that'll go out in January. Originally, I was thinking it might be just be a small piece of the project, and if we get someone on board from the small piece, they do a good job, they can continue all through. I think where these costs are approaching six figures, I would not advise to a library board to say, hey, we're just going to go with one person for six figures and let's move on. It's something that we think especially talking to Director Weinstein, that we think we need to put out for a public bid. So that's what we plan to do in January for that one, to keep it competitive. So that's that one. But the other things that will come in that'll kind of shape things up, we're getting the contractor bids due. So the next January board meeting, we'll have a big budget update there and a huge step forward. We have the visit to the merchandise mart for the furniture. We'll also be looking to cut POs or approvals for RFID and security gate purchases. Abatement bids will be going out next month. And the first furniture bid package, which is the workstations. We're trying to get the workstations in at the end of phase one, specifically to the admin area, tech services, and youth services departments, because all of those departments will be completed in phase one. If we can move them into their furniture, we'd like to do that. There's no guarantee right now because of lead times. We don't know if everything will be shipped on time, but we're going to make an attempt. Other things that's not on here, just so you're aware, I know I was sent an email to check on status. We are planning on submitting a grant submittal to Illinois State Library, and it would be a live and learn grant, and the cap on that grant is $125,000, and it has to be funds matching what the library would contribute. So in other words, you'd have to submit a project that is worth $250,000 to get the $125K. The way it works, so you're all aware, is whoever submits them, say they get 10 different submittals from different libraries. There's a panel that goes and votes, similar to the pre-qualification process that we went through with contractors, that votes and says, okay, I'm going to give 10 points to this one, 8 to that one, 7, whatever it might be. The highest awarded, they basically then rank them high to low. If the state has $500,000 to give towards those donations, they start at the top, they get their full amount. The next one gets their full amount until they exhaust their $500,000, and then it goes away. So it just goes in order, and that's how it ends up. The biggest thing that they look at, in our experience, because we did get the full $125K at Villa Park, is imminent danger to the public, a safety issue, or ADA issues. So with that, talking to Director Weinstein, we looked at potentially the ADA and finishes for the new family restrooms in the youth services department. Right now, the plan is the finishes could remain the same. It's an adult to change the finishes. We were planning on changing the doorways so that it would be ADA compliant. I'm going to pull out all those costs and try to bundle that as a submittal to the state for that piece, as well as redoing the finishes in your current main restrooms here, because I'm sure no one here besides Chris and I have gone into the men's side most likely, or Beth in terms of maintenance. But there are some tile cracking and flooring issues on the men's side, which we can say is a danger. When you step on a tile and it's broke, or it could be a danger eventually. So we want to put that in there. So those two things are things that we know hold weight with that board. We're also looking at, go ahead.
The drive-up window as an accessibility aid as well.
Right. So if that happens, what we would do is actually, I'm going to package something up. We'll pull that out of this budget if it actually happens, and we'll track it as its own separate path within the same total dollar amount that you have right now, if that happens.
And I believe the application is due in January, so
Yes.
Mark and I will be working on this. I will work on this with also my staff, with the marketing arm of administration as well, but yeah. So
And we have some
getting on it
examples.
soon.
Yeah, we have some examples. It's not too complicated, thankfully. We have most of the information since all the work that we've done in the past kind of leads into this. And really, there's two submittals, so you're aware. There's one that goes to the State Historic Preservation Agency to ensure that your building is not some historic value, and also to the grant. So I had a phone call with them the other day. It was kind of laughable because they wanted pictures of everything and wanted to see how great of a building it was right now. It's like, how much effort do you need in this? We'll see. But any questions?
As far as the certifications go,
Mm-hmm.
does anyone verify them? I understand they're in the industry, and I'm
Mhm.
sure everything's just fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else. I worked in a business where we had to verify a person's education. You would be surprised how many people really went to the school but never matriculated.
Sure.
So just a question on that, and then also on the merchandise mart visits, under G, are the department heads going to accompany you?
Yes.
They are?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yep.
verify that.
Yeah, the ones that have new furniture to see.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
We're not going to take everyone for workstations because really those have been picked, but for
But we'll share
Soft.
that via Zoom, via other meetings.
Okay.
They don't have to go downtown for that.
Right.
Great.
the important thing is what you're sitting on. And staff are keeping their existing chairs in the project. So that's why we don't need to drag everyone down there for that.
Unless they need replacing.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So your question on certifications, the certifications that are part of the bid are not certifying what their history is or whatever else. It's certifying that they will adhere to prevailing wage requirements, that they will allow for, I believe one is they will allow for drug testing, that they, and basically saying that they have no objection and they will adhere to the requirements that we present as the project moves forward. So there's really no check on those because they're signing up that they will do it, not that they have done it. If that makes sense?
Right, but as far as their insurance liability and all that, that's all,
Yeah,
it's easy to check on, of course.
we will, there are contractual requirements for them to submit a bond as well as, well, I'll back up. To safeguard the library, what we require when they do submit their bid is a 10% bid bond. What that means is they go to a bond company, it's an insurance policy essentially. The library gets a claim, a right to claim 10% of their bid price. So in other words, if they bid $5 million, 10% of that $500,000 could theoretically, you have to prove the need. If you had to say go and rebid things or whatever else because they didn't get the contractual insurance or whatever else, you can actually make a claim against that 10% to then fund any of the losses that you would have. So there's your insurance policy. I think that helps alleviate it. All right.
Anyone else? Great,
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. Good news. We're almost there. January, hopefully. We're hoping for really good news before Christmas. Let's put it that way. So, anything else you need here for?
I don't think so.
No?
I think we're good.
All right, well, if not, have a very, I'll say happy holidays, not knowing if everyone celebrates Christmas here, but Merry Christmas if you do. Happy New Year. And we'll be seeing you in the new year.
See you in 2022.
Yes, yes, exactly. Big year for the whole library.
Really, thank you.
All right, take care, everyone. Yep, take care.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 6, committee reports. Raise finance, any report?
There is no report. We did not meet.
Thank you.
Personnel and policy?
We have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday, December 29th at 12 noon. So in January, we'll be able to talk about what we talked about at that meeting.
Okay. Physical plant?
No.
And advocacy and outreach.
Okay, before I talk a little bit about what we did, because we met December 13th, I'm going to say that our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 13th at 1 o'clock. And we just met at our December 13th meeting, and we worked and we discussed a lot about a fundraising project. And as you know, and I think it was emailed to you, and I think that it was also left on our desks here, I think, the draft of the letter that we put together. Was that also left here? Did everybody get a chance to take a look at it? Okay. So that's the way we want to approach this project is to fundraise for this really neat Lightzilla project for youth services. And I think initially our focus would be to send out letters, create a list of targeted people or organizations, send out letters, do follow-up calls, etc. And we haven't nailed down the exact list. We haven't nailed down the exact who's gonna be assigned to what. But what I'd like is any comments, and I'd like a motion to approve just the fundraising effort in general for the Lightzilla. So if we have a motion and then a second, and then we can discuss. Is-
That goes to the next item.
Yeah.
That's on the agenda, but not right now.
Right.
Oh, okay,
That'll
okay.
come.
So, that's what we did in our meeting. Any questions? Okay. Then that's it.
Yeah, and I think there was a statement provided by the chair in the board packet as well that just kind of outlined it. And that was really primarily for the public, because that went in the board packet.
So when we move to agenda item 8 as far as motion, is that when we would ask about any questions on the letter?
We can talk about that now, we can do that now, or we can do that now, that's fine.
Which you prefer, chairperson?
As long as everybody gets to, I think any comments we have, we want to refine and make this as powerful and as good as possible. So it doesn't matter to me when we discuss it. I think everybody should have input into it because I think it makes it that much better.
Okay. Well, why don't we then, we move to agenda item 7, is that all right? And then during 8, we'll discuss the letter. Does that work for everyone? Okay. Letter A, Director's Report.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with our wonderful winter read event. We had our kickoff party on December 3rd and had approximately 600 people on premises, which pretty much mirrors what we had at Fall Fest. It was a 2-hour event. Patrons registered for the program. They had hot chocolate. They played a little bit in some fake snow that we had outside. And we also had 2 of Santa's reindeers on our property, so it was really nice. And I think we've really made a name for ourselves during this whole pandemic and providing really great programming to the public. I think there's a real thirst out there for family-friendly programs, and not just during COVID. I think this is going to extend beyond COVID because, again, word of mouth. I know staff did not anticipate having as many people as we did at Fall Fest because we're like, it's at night, it's a little cooler out. We really didn't. So it was a great surprise and it was just wonderful. And there's some really nice pictures on Flickr, so please check those out. And I just want to thank the staff again. I did that in my director's report for their planning acumen as well as their managerial skill set regarding just handling the program, and also in the dark, it was a little more challenging. So I just thank the staff for doing a really excellent job. And then as of today, we have 686 patrons registered, and anyone can register just on our website, lisle.library.org, and the program runs through January 7th. And moving on to the per capita grant application, we apply for the per capita grant every year. The requirements for the application this year are the same as they were last year. They ask the library to review the entire standards guidebook to determine whether or not we've met the standards or if we're on our way to meeting the standards. And the good news is that we meet all the essential standards in every chapter. And we use all of the essential, the additional enhancement suggestions. There's some bullet points after each chapter to improve upon what we do with our operations on a regular basis. We've also made some really huge advancements in the chapter that talks about accessibility, and that's obviously because of our forthcoming renovation, and those advancements are noted in the application. And just a note that in the application, it's really tiny font, and they only give you 150 words, so it looks like you can fill up the whole paragraph, but you cannot. So I made it very brief sentences in there. So after today, upon approval, we will submit the application to the Illinois State Library, and then hopefully hear about a grant award sometime this spring. And then just a quick update on investments. Back in October, Treasurer Norton, Mark Rogers, and I met with Ellers to talk about aligning our investments with the renovation project. And then on December 10th, administration, Beth and myself met with Ellers and Sikich via Zoom to review and confirm the strategies for investing along with the renovation plans. So that all went fine. Ellers segregated the bond proceeds, Mark mentioned this, into a special account. And the library will expend those funds first for the renovation as soon as the board moves the funds from corporate into special. And that will happen in January. So we'll have an agenda item in January to move those funds from corporate into special. And then in the meantime, the existing cash at Ellers, they've already begun to invest those to have maturities coincide with the renovation schedule. So that's happening. Sickage was on the call as well, and they're going to prepare the monthly investment and treasurer's reports to reflect those changes. So there was some adjustments made to the financials this month, but you'll see more changes in the January reports from Sickage. Okay. And then under marketing and outreach efforts, we are expanding our e-news and e-blasts to include targeted lists. So right now we have an e-news, you might receive it. It's just a general library one and it's pretty long and it encompasses everything. We'll continue to have a general one if that's all somebody wants, but we're now going to segment it out to youth, teen, and adult. Each list will be curated, so the youth one will have things about collections and databases and programs, and the same goes for teen and adult. We're going to market that. I think we've already started marketing the lists this week via social media. We're going to have bookmarks out there. We're going to have flyers, and we just want to gain some new subscribers and just alert everybody to all the fun things that are happening here at the library. And then our Library Kindness Card program has launched, but just 2 weeks ago, and we collected 77 handmade cards that'll be mailed to the Chicago-based nonprofit Cards for Kids. These cards are going to be distributed to hospitalized children, seniors, and veterans. And the stations are in the Youth Services Department, in the Adult Services Department. We've got blank cards there, we've got markers, we've got some stencils. It's really been a hit with the patrons. They come upon the table, they sit down, they're like, this is cool. It's just really nice, and the cause is great. So that's been going very well. And then just lastly, you'll be seeing a number of posts as well as displays around the library that talk of like the best of 2021. And staff have been supplying their best books of 2021 to all of these posts. However, we would like some trustee participation. So if you have a book you really loved in 2021, email that to me if you don't mind, and give me one sentence description of why you thought it was a great book, and we'll include you in our best of 2021. So if you're willing, please do so. It'll be great. Any questions?
For the kindness cards, you said they're still there. How long is that running through?
We're going to keep it going. We began it in the holiday season, but this is an ongoing thing that could go throughout the entire year.
Okay,
we'll
so
see
it
how
could be
goes.
ongoing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Question for you. I forgot in AOC to talk about the videos, and I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind talking about them as part of marketing and outreach.
Absolutely. So at the Advocacy and Outreach Committee meeting, I provided kind of a summary of the script that the trustees would be participating along with staff to film some areas in and around the library that highlight the changes that will be coming with the renovation. And so next week, and the committee liked the ideas, next week, I think Sarah volunteered to be in the first video, which will talk about the purpose of the renovation. And that's kind of a longer one. It will be where I and a trustee kind of go back and forth, and then Nigel is talking about filming some B-rolls, which is just areas of the library that'll be running behind our words, or he'll go back and forth between Sarah and I talking. So the first video is about purpose. The second video will highlight the Youth Services Department. The third video, I'm running off my memory here, will discuss
Entrances and parking.
Outdoor
the
space.
entrances and parking, and then Lorna will be the trustee in that video. We talk about the convenience of the dual entrances and the easy access to parking. there will be the adult services department, and I'll work with the director in that, Elizabeth, in that department. Then we'll highlight circulation services, which will talk about the main entrance, the new lobby, and the RFID. And then we're gonna talk about the outdoor program space, and surprise, surprise, it's going to be Emily and Jenny in that video. They've determined. And Karen, you're welcome. We just talked about 6 videos, and this is just the first 6. We plan on doing a lot more. And these are short. These are gonna be maybe 2-3 minutes apiece, where it's a back and forth, questions answered by either department directors or myself or a trustee, providing a couple statements about the highlights of the renovation, and we'll move on. So
You're not off the hook, huh?
yes, yes. So that's the video project, and hopefully we'll start shooting next week.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Sure.
Beth, Assistant Director's Report.
I just wanted to update you, in addition to my report, that last Saturday, if you recall, it was very, very windy overnight, still when we got up in the morning. I know when I got up in the morning, there was no power. Trustee Turner says she had no power, so, and no heat. So, about, I don't know, 7:45 or so, I got in the car and just to come over here to see if the library had power. While I was driving over here, Tatiana called me and said she got a call from the alarm company that the alarm had gone off. And I said, well, I'm on my way. And they said also that the police would be coming to check. So I was able to open up the door, read the alarm panel that's right at the receiving door, and it said that there was a fault at the east mechanical door area. So at that point, the police pulled up, and I told them I was going to walk through the building just to check on things. We did have power, we did have heat, there was no other buzzing alarms going off or anything.
And they accompany you.
Well, he drove down to the east end as I walked through the building. I did have my husband with me, so he checked the outside doors, and I walked through the east mechanical room to the outside and met him and told him that everything seemed secure. He said that there were multiple alarms in the village that morning, and he thought that it was probably just wind blowing against that east mechanical door. In the meantime, we've checked the door, and we are making sure every night that those outside doors are closed and secure. Again, the policeman was very nice and just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. And I don't remember his name, but he was very nice and helpful. The last thing I wanted to mention is Tatiana's talked about the cards for kids. We had a few people who had actually filled out the volunteer application this summer. And of course, because of COVID, we really don't have opportunities for them at this time. But we did email them and tell them about the cards for kids, and I've already gotten a couple responses back that they'd like to come in and do that program.
And it is a volunteer opportunity also for the teens, and they do gain hours upstairs for programs and stuff.
And that's the update.
Any questions?
Yes, I know we're gonna be with the renovation doing security, increasing our security, implementing security. Given that we do have power outages from time to time, are we looking at anything that, the best type of security to use in an area that does have power out? I don't even know if that makes sense, if there are any security systems that operate better in situations like what we have, or
We've even pre-renovation have investigated this kind of thing in terms of security or safety for our technology with the and we just was it this year or last year, bought the new ups.
Yes.
It was this fiscal year, correct? So we did purchase a new backup system for our servers on premises. Our RFID, I mean, everything's electrical, so if our power goes out, it's out, but we do have some backup plans for technology. I know the board remembers discussing generators. That's a huge expense, and I can check in with Mark about smaller type of generators, but to maintain a building of this size in full, it's just not fiscally achievable.
Right, right, okay.
We are looking at the entry system with the key card system.
Right, I mean, but if keyless entry, that is part of the renovation. But again, if the power's out, it's a key, you use your key. So it's gonna be a dual situation there.
I guess that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8, new business. 8A, approval of fundraising effort for facility installation. May I have a motion to accept in a second?
I move to approve of the fundraising effort as recommended by the LLD Advocacy and Outreach Committee for a special feature installation in the Youth Services Department.
I second.
Would you like to provide a summary, Trustee Sullivan, or?
I think I've pretty much done it,
Okay.
and I think this would be a good time to ask everybody for input into the letter and to refine it, et cetera.
Are we approving the letter's exact wording tonight as part of approving the motion for the effort, or are we just approving the effort and we can wordsmith this a little bit more later if we want to?
I think it's an approval of the effort because the effort also includes social media posting of this effort. It includes reaching out for grants for this effort, so it's the effort. But the letter, I think, is up for discussion. I know that the committee spent some time editing the draft I provided, and so this is another opportunity to improve.
Yeah, the way we'd like to handle it, and let me know if this doesn't work for you, Jenny. You know how the policy committee kind of wordsmiths and works on a policy, and then they bring it to the board and they say, the policy committee has recommended that you approve it, and then we edit it as a group. I'd like to see the letter handled that same way. Now, if you have edits, I think we should bring them up and talk about them. But it's not to say that, you go home and you read it tomorrow, let us know.
Yeah, that's all I mean. Yeah, I just didn't, it's kind of, it's a dense read, and I didn't want to nitpick, and I didn't want to take up a lot of board time to, put my effort into it.
Well, and I think what's going to happen too is over time, we're not experts at this fundraising for a library. Some of us have done fundraising projects, but we're going to kind of refine and learn what works and what doesn't. Maybe we'll find that we need to provide people with more information, and it'll turn into a 2-page letter. Maybe we'll find that people don't read, more than, 3 seconds worth. There are different marketing theories. So maybe we'll skinny down the letter to be 1 paragraph. So we will be trialing different things depending upon what we see that works.
And just so everyone knows, and our newer board members know that this is an action item because we need full board approval of the effort, of the action to go and fundraise on this topic. So the wordsmithing can be refined as we go. And just a reminder also is that this is a first wave of an ask. We have 10 months to fundraise. So we have other opportunities to meet again as a committee and discuss our progress and as we move forward and talk about any receipt of funds and things like that, and then hone it as we go.
And as we go forward, we'll probably be knocking on each trustee's door and saying, or maybe I'll be calling you guys and saying, hey, what are your ideas? Is there anybody that you might have contact with? that, you know, you wouldn't mind going out and contacting them and saying, hey, we're doing this project. And so it's not something that, I mean, we hope as a committee that AOC will bring the ideas to the whole board. And, you know, thank you Tatiana and Marjorie for working out and doing the letter first, and then we wordsmith it, and then you have an opportunity to wordsmith it. But we'd like you to participate, but we'd like, you know, you also to approve of the whole effort.
Sure, that's easy, you have that in a heartbeat.
and
That takes nothing.
we're hoping that, you know, by the end of 1 week, we've raised the 15,000 and we go on to project 2. But we're also a little optimistic.
I have a question of you, Liz. At your committee meeting, there were 3 dates mentioned. So you mentioned mail the week of December 20th, then calling on the 3rd and the 10th, and then the AOC meeting on the 13th. So if you want input on this letter, I don't know how these dates jive.
I think if it's anything glaring, speak up now or in the next week or so, because the letters won't be going out until next week.
No, I understand, but that's what I'm getting at. So, I mean, if the trustees that are not on the committee have some suggestions, I think sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'd like to have any input now, but, you know, to Jenny's point, if you take this home and you're looking at it tomorrow, you know.
Well, sure, I don't mean tonight, I just meant, according to your outline of dates.
I would say the plan is, first blush, unless we edit it tonight, we'll use it for the first mailing. And the first mailing is not gonna be super big, because understand, we don't want it to go out to 1,000 people, because we wanna kind of follow up with it, and we don't wanna, you know, we don't wanna overwhelm ourselves and get ourselves into a big mess. You know, so we might decide to just do a small little bit of mailing, make some calls, follow up on it, and then see what works. So anytime during the process, you know, if you have an idea, please come to me. And, you know, this is going to be evolving over time. So if you have, you know, edits, please bring them up now.
Okay, so since you're saying that,
Sure, you are so good at this.
so for me, if I have to read something more than once, then I feel like it needs to be reworded, just for me personally. So I like everything that you wrote. I like the detail when you're describing what it is and all of that. It was just the very last sentence with the thank you for considering supporting. Those 2 INGs really was throwing me for a loop when I was first reading it. So I was thinking, like, we appreciate your consideration in supporting this very special project, or in support of this special project. I don't know what sounds better, but I kind of wanted to add, like, we appreciate your consideration. Or it could be thank you for your consideration, but the considering and supporting back to back was too confusing for me.
That's a great point. And in sales, we would remove considering, because what you want to do is the assumptive close.
Right.
here.
So thank you for supporting.
Yes.
Yep.
You want to assume they're doing it.
So, you know, again, so you could just be, you know, we appreciate your support of this very special project.
Yes. So how about if we say something like, thank you for supporting
Mm-hmm.
this very special project?
Mhm.
Are you guys okay with that? Just removing the word considering?
All right, I'm gonna meet you halfway. I'm only gonna give you one. The very first clause
Sure.
has have twice. I think once is good.
Oh, as you probably have heard. Yep.
Oh, we didn't catch that one.
So,
I didn't catch it either.
I'm sorry. I'm just
Good job, Jenny.
okay. That's it. I'm
No,
done.
no, that's perfect.
I'll
This is what we need.
TTYL.
Can we
offline.
remove the first half? So it would read, as you probably have heard? Everybody good with that?
That's fine.
You
Okay.
like that one?
No, that's a good edit.
Sure. but I don't care.
I know, I kinda like the other half staying in that way.
Yeah,
I kinda like the half before probably staying. I
Oh,
kinda like that, as you have probably heard.
That sounds
perfect.
more-
So keep
second
the
one.
first half, remove the second half.
No, I think it's the other way around, isn't it?
Oh boy.
I don't, well, no, I mean, I don't know.
It
Going-
sounds like more
going by our
people wanna keep the first half.
Maybe someone consult in English.
I don't know, I mean,
Honestly, it's,
or just as you may have heard,
Okay, that's a good compromise, as you may have heard.
as you may have heard. Because then because if you give it to the probably like, so as you may have heard.
You okay with that, Tatiana?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And really, as we hope you've heard, as we hope you're aware.
and if you're not, we'll send somebody to knock on your door. You guys, this is great, and I know it does take time, but this is great.
Thanks for, encouraging it, but again, like I could bring us here until sunlight.
But that's
So,
my
don't-
point about not trying to get it all done tonight.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yep.
Well, but that's the way we do policy.
It's a lovely draft, well, but this wasn't, if I missed it, I'm sorry, but I didn't see this in the packet ahead of time, and so it was in that
your-
separate
Oh, that's
email.
right, it
Yeah,
was a
I
separate
definitely
one.
glazed
Gotcha.
over
It was
it,
later.
so, I didn't read this ahead of time, so I'm not in a space to really give you my best right now for that.
Gotcha.
I think if, say Wednesday, by the end of the week or early next week, you could get your thoughts to Tatiana.
And it's a great draft, I don't mean to make it sound like I wanted to go through it with a steamroller and Zamboni it, and change it, the whole look of it, but just the way I am actually the daughter of an English teacher, so I think it's a line.
Perfect. Every time you guys give an edit, it gets better.
And you're 100% on not putting in consideration, we appreciate your consideration, thank you for supporting. Is everybody on that page?
Yeah.
Kind of like it's more, like you are going to.
Yes.
Just
Well,
my
do we want
opinion.
it to be thank you for supporting or thank you for your support of? I don't know.
I think supporting is more, it's a broader, so that's less presumptive sounding, and I think that's there, a balance. We're not pushing them too hard.
Because I was just thinking of that, because that supporting is kind of like, okay, good, I can check that other amount because I can give like $5 or $10.
Right,
But you're still supporting
right.
that. So it makes it feel like you're, encompassing everybody.
Anything else right now? Okay,
We have a motion and a second.
we need to reread the second motion number 2.
I think so.
No. Okay, Chris, would you call the roll?
Sarah Wynn,
Aye.
Marla Turner,
Aye.
Karen Larson,
Aye.
Jenny Norton,
Aye.
Liz Sullivan,
Aye.
Emily Swistak,
Aye.
Marjorie Martelli.
Aye. Great. Item 8B is to approve the per capita grant application. May I have a motion to adopt in a second, and then the director should provide an explanation.
I'll move to approve the 2022 Illinois Public Library per capita and utilization aid grant application.
I'll second.
Well, I think I went over that in the board packet, so this is our annual per capita grant application, and all of the notations are within the application in the board packet.
Any questions, discussion? No? Chris, please call the roll.
Karen Larson,
Aye.
Liz Sullivan,
Aye.
Jenny Norton,
Aye.
Emily Swistak,
Aye.
Marla Turner,
Aye.
Sarah Wynn,
Aye.
Marjorie Martelli.
Aye. Item 8C is to approve the 2022 holiday closings. And a motion to approve in a second, and then the director can provide an explanation.
I move to approve the library's holiday closing dates for the 2022 calendar year. 2022.
And I'll second.
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. In the packet, there is a list of holiday closings. This is per board policy that it must be an action item that the board approves of any closings of the library. That.
And the reason why, just a question, the reason why then like for New Year's, there's Eve Day and holidays because it falls on the weekend and so there's the, okay.
Yeah. Every few years it turns out that way.
Yeah.
Chris, please call the roll.
Emily Swistak.
Aye.
Verna Turner.
Aye.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Jenny Norton.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Sarah Wynn.
Aye.
Margaret Bartelli.
Aye. Thank you. Agenda item number 9, opportunity for trustee comments. Trustee Larson, we'll start with you.
Okay, I loved the winter kickoff thing. I walked to the parking lot. It was like maybe 10 after 5. And I
Yeah.
couldn't believe how packed it was. There were so many people again. And it was kind of dark, it was kind of cool. I think I saw Sarah somewhere. I know I ran into Laura.
Beth did a
but I
wonderful
couldn't find
job
Tatiana. I
directing
came
traffic
inside, there were people and parents everywhere. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
wonderful. It'll be fun to see, you know, as we keep going along, the other events for like, you know, next year.
Oh, yeah.
I think the churros truck is a big hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trustee Norton.
Well, I appreciate all the progress that has been made in our big project, as well as in day-to-day operations. And I really like this new AOC activity that's coming up. I'm really happy for that group and what we're trying to do to enhance what we already have in terms of making the library better. And I really like the marketing videos, and even though I think I've already had my 10 minutes of fame, I certainly don't mind contributing, especially with Vice President Swistak as my wingman. So that sounds very good. That was whoever came up with that idea, that was a good one. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Trustee Sullivan.
Just everybody have a safe and happy holiday and, you know, enjoy the time and we'll just dig in January.
Trustee Swistak.
I just want to say, echo kind of what Karen said about the winter read kickoff party. So my family got here at 5:25 and had to park across the street over by St. Joan, and I was just dumbfounded by how many people were here already at that point. It was amazing, and it was so nice to see so many people out. It was milder weather than we you'd expect in December. I think that probably also contributed to the large crowd. But staff did a great job of making sure that the lines of attendees were going in the right way, waiting for the hot chocolate or waiting for the reindeer or waiting for the fake snow, and that was really nice. It felt very organized and it really flowed as far as that goes. And then when we finally made our way inside and signed up, that was really neat. I'm excited about the fact that there's an actual app for the winter read. Instead of a website, I like that there's the app, and my kids. My family was like, let's download the app, and so we've been doing the app, which is just exciting. So that was a lot of fun. I'm happy to be here for that. I spotted, actually I didn't see anyone else, but I think because it was so crazy crowded that it was hard to see people. So anyway, so that was good, and then. As I always say, I'm excited about where we're headed with the renovation. I'm really interested to get the information from Tatiana after the bid opening next week, and hearing about what they were, and then learning in January who is fully qualified to do it. So I'm excited about that, and just wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays and happy New Year, with the exception of those that I will be seeing in December for the Personnel Policy Committee meeting.
Thank you. Trustee Turner.
I too had a great time at the winter read. Got here same thing with you, had a park over by St. John. I did appreciate Beth's traffic directions there. And I came in to see if I could help out with the registration, and your staff seemed to have everything under control, because there were lines out the door, and I thought I could step in and help somehow, and they said nope, they had everything under control, and I watched it a couple of minutes, and they did. I mean, everything moved along very nicely, so it was a great job. Looking forward to more of them.
Trustee Witt?
Yeah, just a lot of the same with the winter read kickoff. We were there. My kids cried because they didn't want to leave. I was like, good, it was a success. I really am. I feel like I'm more excited every time I come to a meeting, be it AOC or the board meeting, and just talking with Tatiana, talking with Marjorie, and I just feel very excited just about everything that's going on, and me being able to have a part in it and to work with you guys as a team. I'm really excited, and it's gotten actually me volunteering into other aspects of the community, which is amazing. And you guys have started it for me, but I am so looking forward to January and knowing who's going to be doing this and when things really start to come through. But yeah, happy holidays to everybody, and yeah, always a pleasure.
I can get you an application for a lot of women's club if you're interested. We're always looking for new members.
Thank you, Sarah. I echo everyone's sentiments. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the winter read, but sounds like I missed a lot of fun. Hopefully next year. I'm excited about the enthusiasm we all have for the fundraising effort. In my experience, since I've been on the board, we haven't always had that kind of excitement. So this is very cool. And I think we're going to do, and I think the committee, Trustee Sullivan's committee is going to do a really, really good job. We're well on our way. So that's a good thing. And also, Merry Christmas to all too. Happy holidays.
And who gave us the?
Yeah.
Look on the map.
Oh,
okay.
Secret Santa.
Secret Santa. Secret Santa.
All right. Last item is to adjourn. May I have a motion and a second?
I move to adjourn.
A second.
We don't need to call the roll, do we?
You can have a voice.
Just all those in favor?
Okay,
All in favor.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:07. All right.